Let's talk about how not to replace Samson Ebukam, because I feel like the Niners just showed us the exact perfect way of how not to replace your starting D end. What do you think? Sign Cleveland Farrell and then back that up with signing Austin Bryant? Is that perfect?
No. The one what I was getting is the one thing you don't want to do by no means. Do not put Eric Armstead back at defensive end. Like that cannot
I
be.
saw people saying that on Twitter. It's like, hold on. Do I have to explain again why we can't do that? Why that's not an option?
Yeah.
We as in the world, it can't happen.
No. No way. Like
I mean, when he plays D end, he's the best player for the other team. He is the best player for the other team when he's playing D end. He's not just he's not just a non-impact player at D end. Like he is a liability. Why? Because he's a zero as a pass rusher from the edge, and he can't keep the quarterback in the pocket. Good run defender though. From wherever you put him on the D line, hell of a run defender. But in terms of keeping the quarterback in the pocket and rush,
he's not athletic enough at the edge position. It's not you can't just put 300-pound guys out there anymore. Like you can't do it. You know?
No. Maybe if the quarterback was Tom Brady, you could do something like that. But if the quarterback can use his legs at all,
no. You can't. So
also, how many career sacks does Eric Armstead have from the edge? Try to remember one time him winning from the edge. I can't think of one. No, don't do that. So you got Cleveland Farrell. He's starting Super Bowl.
I think there are. We've talked people have talked about. I think they're going to address it in the draft, and I'm not even sure that their starting defensive end opposite Bosa is on the roster right now. I know people have a lot of praise for Jackson, but if you look back at what Jackson did last year, his sacks, they all came from stunts.
They all came from stunts or from straight up lining up in the A or B gap as a D tackle. And if you look at his sacks in college, they were all from that or shooting the inside gap. All of them. And when I asked Chris Kasarik preseason, what's the vision for Drake Jackson, he was like, well, kind of like what we did with Arden Key. Go back and look at his sacks in college. They mostly came from the interior. Okay, thanks, Chris. So I don't see how that changes.
Yeah. I actually don't have a problem with any of the defensive end signings they have now if you're using those guys as rotational pieces, because if the 49ers have done really well with finding guys that just off other rosters, and then Kasarik coaching them up and them being a lot better than they were at the other team. Not good enough to a starter, right?
Right.
But they do need a start. None of those guys I think are starting caliber type edge player. Maybe Jackson if he takes a leap, but like we just discussed, I'm not as hot on him as other guys. They might be able to find. They may have a couple guys they're targeting in the draft, and there might be a guy in free agency, like a veteran that they like, and they're just waiting for his price to go down. He might be waiting for a better offer. They might have something on the table, but they're not going to go up. And that might work itself out over time too.
I'm not sure that they're super that they really believe in Drake Jackson. They may have. I don't know how they feel about him, because it seems like Cleveland Farrell is a bigger, stronger, better option on first down against the run. And so Drake Jackson, you're probably not going to be the starting base D end on this team. And you're probably not going to be an edge rusher on third down, because we all know most of your pressures come from the interior. So you're either going to be taking snaps away from Eric Armstead on third down, which you haven't earned yet, or you're not going to be playing much. So I don't really know. It seems like, signing Farrell and Bryant was not necessarily the best sign for Drake Jackson. They could have went out and signed Yannick Ngakoue, but it seems like they signed two guys who could pretty much push Jackson out of the picture for cheap. So, and they're probably going to draft a guy too. So yeah, I don't know about Drake Jackson. What they said about him at the end of the year, how he was inactive, that didn't bode well.
Yeah. People were attributing it to roster politics, that they want more interior guys. I just thought I thought it was because their other edge guys were better.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe they'll solve it that way. They'll solve it in the draft. I'm not sure that their starting guy is on the roster right now. I will say, like, it's funny because it's always like you make fun of them for run it back. I think, like, when you look at what the 49ers are, a lot of what they try to do, it's like they look back at that 2019 blueprint, and I think they want to have the D Ford guy. Like, the Ebukam.
Sure.
Ebukam was
that was Ebukam, but he's not. He never was. He was more of a run defender, and that's Cleveland Farrell. So you've replaced that, but if you're trying to replace D Ford, and it's not Drake Jackson. It's no one on the team.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm saying I think that they're going to look elsewhere, because I think there's nobody on the team right now that you can look and say, oh, he's the D Ford guy.
If they could go sign Leonard Floyd, he would qualify, but I think he'd probably be more expensive than they're willing to pay Leonard Floyd.
I think that's what they want, or they probably are looking at veterans, but they're priced out of their range, and the market has to drop for them to kind of be in play. So they're probably hoping, like, hey, hope nobody wants to sign Leonard Floyd or any of these guys, and then maybe they can work on a contract.
Yeah, I'm also thinking the Niners feel they can probably draft someone with one of those third-round comp picks, someone with traits, and let Chris Kaserik coach him up. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that they could probably do that. Someone who runs a 4.5 with like a fast 10-yard split. Jerry Baker says only paying to see Grant shake his face again. I got that from Billy Madison, where he shakes that kid's face at the end. You gotta cherish it, and the kid's face is just shaking. Michael McCann says, "What's the dead cap hit if we trade Debo next season?" Oh my God,
it's probably crazy because they just signed him.
Let me tell you. What you got to do is go to over the cap. Then you go there's a little drop down thing. Click on trade pre-1. The dead cap hit next year is $21.7 million with $6.7 million saved. Kind of rough. You got to be careful with these contracts, man. You got to get a prenup. Okay, last topic. I don't have a prenup.